In this video, we're going to be covering a possible another dynamic system. It's going to be moving through the south, bringing another round of storms to the south, possibly even some more severe storms to the central to northern plains, possibly even some snow as well with this system. I think it's here in much of the eastern U.S. and the southern plains. We have temperatures in the mid to high 70s here, especially throughout Alabama, Mississippi, possibly even reaching 80 here on the coast of the Gulf here in southern Louisiana, southern Mississippi. Certainly seeing some 80s here in south central Texas, even western Texas. So like I said, we have high temperatures all across the eastern portion of the U.S. What gives? Well, let's look to the jet stream here to find those answers. See this flow from the south that helps push this warmer air in from the south and from the Gulf of Mexico. But as the jet stream is here, it actually recedes north a little bit. So we can see that acceleration of warmth from the south towards the north for the second time this week. So tomorrow from Detroit, Michigan, all the way down to Birmingham, Alabama, even portions of the panhandle of Florida, we could have temperatures from 5 to 15 degrees above average. We may even see 85 degrees in Jacksonville, possibly 80s in Atlanta. Even in D.C., we can see some higher temperatures. I think it's here in portions of Virginia, up to the nation's capital here. It's getting into the 70s. Tomorrow, things are likely to be even more warmer as the jet stream shifts a little, pushing more of that warmer air from the south into the Gulf of Mexico here. Even Louisville, Kentucky, you can see temperatures in the 80s tomorrow. I'll go ahead and speed it up here. This is overnight. So here, this is about tomorrow afternoon. Sounds about right here. If we could just stop it right here, we see temperatures almost reaching 80 here in the Ohio Valley. You can see all across West Virginia, Kentucky. Some of that higher elevations here may reach some of the in the lower 70s, maybe stuck at 60 in some of these areas. But here at ground level, here in Virginia along the I-95 corridor, seeing 80s here, especially for the southeast. Even as we move up here in the mid-Atlantic, seeing temperatures in the high 60s as well as the mid-70s. So yeah, we'll still have much of the U.S. will still be experiencing this one into Thursday and Friday. We also know that the northern plains are going to be receiving some rain this week. Very welcomed rain after leaving with what has been a very extremely dry and windy conditions. We still have red flag warnings issued for some of these areas. So here's the fire danger here. See red flag warnings in areas in pink. Parts of Utah, Colorado, even portions of Kansas, Oklahoma, Texas, and really covering all of the state of New Mexico here. So the threat is certainly here with these drier conditions. I'll go ahead and show you right here. So here are the relative humidities. What you can see is very dry in these areas I just mentioned in the brown here. In dry conditions, it can help fuel vegetation that makes the vegetation could be alive or dead. It'll make it more available to burn. So this is just one of the components that we talk about wildfires. Another, of course, are the winds. Winds can add oxygen to these fires and can spread the fires, and they can make the fires behavior more erratic. So as we look at the current surface winds here in the red flag areas, all across New Mexico, some Colorado, especially parts of western Texas here, you can see it's very dry. We see very strong winds for portions of the southern plains continuing through a good part of the day tomorrow. Anywhere you see these wind barbs with more antennas, if you will, you can call them antennas. Any area that have more of those antennas will be where the stronger winds are in place. Really, have more of a northeastern, just eastern flow here, moving west. This is surface winds here, about gusts up to 20 to 40 miles an hour in some of these areas. Again, with very dry conditions, so fires can spread very easily. But on the time being for today and tomorrow, especially overnight, we can see these very dry conditions in this dark brown and very windy conditions with some of these with some of these wind barbs here. So we may be looking at high winds in the days to come. We actually have a severe weather threat across portions of the mid-south and deep south tomorrow and Friday. But as for today, this is in the next few hours here by this afternoon. The same system that'll bring us a damaging wind threat and severe weather to the south is just now strengthening throughout portions of the Dakotas right now. Also parts of Wyoming and especially parts of Nebraska, seeing some severe weather beginning to break out here. Doesn't really show up too good on this radar. We're also seeing some snow mixed in with some thunderstorms here on the northern side of the system, just northwest of North Platte, North Dakota, through Scottsbluff, Nebraska. Rapid City, South Dakota, in other portions along the I-90 corridor is receiving some of the snow that's beginning to rapidly accumulate as the system races north. So again, we may see some thunderstorms in the first few hours, and the next few hours we may see some snow. So a very dynamic system we have right now. So see here, this convection just shows you how strong this system is. There's lightning, periods of heavy rain, possibly even bringing some snow at that. So you can just check out some of the severe weather associated with this group of storms. But then again, this band of storms is making its way across central plains, as you can see here. This is by tonight, getting into tomorrow morning here. You can see some of the yellow begin to show up, some of the heavier rain across portions of Nebraska, even South Dakota, seeing some severe weather break out here. Then again, on the backside, the northern side of the storm, here in northwestern Nebraska, western South Dakota, some of the snow beginning to show up here. Possibly some thunder snow. I would not be surprised. With this energy and instability we have in the air due to these thunderstorms, then snow following along right behind it, we may have a setup for some thunder snow. So then again, making its way across central plains and heading east and southbound. So we just move it a little further by tomorrow. This is by tomorrow morning. See the center of low pressure moving on through the upper south here. So portions of the Midwest as well, bringing some of the rain, some of this heavier rain here throughout Minnesota. They're already seeing some thunderstorms here, actually. They're going to get some of the action here in the next few hours. But this is by tomorrow. We'll get another band moving on through here. But it'll only be a matter of time before we see this line begin to form here in the south. So let's go back to right now. So right now we're going to check out this upper air disturbance that's associated with those strong thunderstorms throughout Nebraska here. You can see that dark orange, some purple showing up here with that upper air disturbance. This is an upper levels of the atmosphere here. You can see winds are really roaring up here. This is actually about 500 millibars into the atmosphere. You see a lot of vorticity here in these areas. Like I said, here we have very strong winds in the upper levels of the atmosphere here. We can go ahead and click for sounding here. Here we can see the temperature. You can see 1 to 6 kilometer above ground level wind barbs. You can see here. We're seeing about 20 or 30 mile an hour winds. Here, if we look at this upper level system here, this is the relative humidity along with the wind. This is it currently. This is where it's sitting at right here, along in the Four Corners region. So here you can see that green and brown showing up here. This green is the moisture in the mid-level to the atmosphere, and the darker brown here is the drier air. Here, about right here, is our parent system, which is the area of low pressure. It really just starts to ignite some of these storms and lifts a lot of that moisture into the upper atmosphere. That then condenses it out and forms rain and thunderstorms. But right now, as this low progresses towards the east, as you can see it progresses towards the east here. I feel like it'd be more accurate if I were to use this. See, it moves it towards the east here. It actually begins to strengthen even more as it moves towards the east. So the activity we see today becomes a little more apparent tomorrow here in the deep south. But yeah, the dynamic part of the storm is the backside of this band where we see snow right here. And then just by tomorrow, we're going to talk about more severe weather. This is a very dynamic storm we're talking about. So again, here are where the thunderstorms currently are, where snow is simultaneously occurring. Of course, we have moisture being pumped in from the south here. So yes, we can pick up a couple, maybe even 4 inches of snow in some areas in the northern plains here. But then again, we're also simultaneously, not too far from these areas, talking about the chance of thunderstorm activity today. Here's the third area for today. Mainly seeing a slight risk here across portions of the Midwest. Really, portions of eastern Kansas, southeastern Nebraska. Like I said, it will strengthen much more as it moves east. We're not seeing much severe weather here in the south just yet. We have a little marginal risk here. Seeing some scattered thunderstorms, possibly the outer bands of the storm. But then again, like I said, tomorrow is really when this line begins to form. That'll have this front and kind of just lift some more of that moisture, gaining some more energy here. It's moving right on through the south. But as for today, it'll begin to strengthen even more. Right now, we're still seeing some scattered, some isolated thunderstorms here throughout portions of South Dakota and Nebraska. Some snow on the backside, but I really want to say the overnight hours, and we'll see some more of this severe weather begin to develop. So if we go ahead and look at the Cape again, as you can see here, it's like this northern part of the slight risk will not actually be as severe as the central portion here. Still a chance for some severe storms, but not quite as bad here along the Oklahoma and Kansas border, especially central Oklahoma, central Kansas. Seeing values here up to 2,500 joules per kilogram here, but definitely in the 2,000 to 2,500 range here. Even seeing a little orange, maybe even close to 3,000 here, 2,600. Very high Cape values, but not quite as high as we're going to see tomorrow here in the deep south. I'll get to that later. So this is just day one. This is for today. Then again, this is actually later today when we're seeing this. Right now, Cape values are not quite as high as you're seeing here, but they will certainly increase later today, even to the overnight hours once that moisture is lifted and surface air is lifted, thus causing there to be enough energy to keep that air rising. While these clouds are beginning to build with the winds also supporting the possibility that the storms that do develop will end up being on the stronger side and more severe side. Storms will really begin to develop here around 5 and 6. You can see this low pressure center of low pressure here. Still in the eastern Midwest here, getting into the upper south. This is where the low pressure is set up here. Really in the corners along the borders of Iowa and Nebraska, Kansas, and Missouri. That's where we're beginning to see the severe weather show up. Like I said, it's really going to begin to develop around 5 and 6, and will continue into the overnight hours. So we may have another round of severe storms on tap, which will increase the risk of seeing tornadoes in the Mid-South. Let's get into severe weather across parts of Mississippi River Valley and Arkansas. I've mentioned a few times in this video, but this is where this main severe weather threat is going to be set up here tomorrow. So we go and look at the Storm Prediction Center outlook by tomorrow. Look at day 2. Got a Google outlook here. So we're seeing a giant slight risk here. I wouldn't surprise me if it moves up to an enhanced risk. I've heard that toricons of 3 are being set up here across these states. It may appear that it's on the same scale as we're seeing it today in the northern plains, but it'll be much more severe. So what we'll see is this upper level low that will move in and bring some of the chance of rain and thunderstorms on Wednesday and Thursday. You can see that the moisture will certainly be here, being pushed in from the Gulf here. So this is by tomorrow. You can see that this moisture plume ahead of the storm. I see really green and blue here. That's what just move right on ahead. Really developing a good front here to just move on through the south. As you can see right here. Here's a good place to stop here. You can see this line where this front will actually move in. Just right on here through Alabama and Mississippi. Some of the same areas you saw yesterday. We go and move up Cape values here into tomorrow. So you can see here they are actually very strong by tomorrow. Seeing values get up into the 4,000 to 4,500 range here in the dark red and purple. So this is a very high convective energy we're seeing along this front. It's going to push on through. So we have the moisture. We have the convective energy. So it's looking like a good setup for tomorrow. But remember that this upper level low will actually strengthen as it departs from the Rockies and pushes through the central plains here. So I would say by tomorrow, you'll notice the dew points in the 60s, maybe 70s, as you can see here, as well as in the portions of the deep south, in Louisiana and Mississippi. But much of the central plains and southern plains have dew points in the 70s. That will be the moisture that will really get these storms fired up. So the dew points may actually be higher here at first in the northern plains. Then again, we'll have more of that energy begin to form. I think it's just on the Cape there. So this will be an interesting setup for tomorrow. So let's go ahead and talk timing here. This is about Wednesday, tomorrow at lunchtime. You can see here the line really hasn't set up yet. Like I said, it'll really be the evening hours. But you do see a lot of this severe weather activity. Barely we're going to develop here in eastern portions of South Dakota, across Minnesota as well. It's going to be pushing more northeastwards here, but mainly east. Then again, this is not going to be the biggest threat, but we do actually have a slight risk for many of these areas here, especially in Oklahoma and Kansas, where we see those storms fire up. Really later on Wednesday when we see that line begin to form. Here we can see some of the rain begin to form, some of this thunderstorms here. You can't really see it too well here on the GFS. Let me go and see if I can change it to the European model. Seeing some yellow and red sneak in here. As you can see, the thunderstorms are really beginning to set up here. I'd say it's pretty safe to say early Wednesday afternoon, just after lunchtime. This is when we'll see some of the severe weather set up. Go ahead and switch back to the GFS here. Just move it on a little further into Wednesday afternoon. Hopefully it'll be more clear on the radar here. You can finally begin to see that. See the center of low pressure here. We're going to push this line on through the south. Just pushing that moisture into the atmosphere. Gaining a lot of convection. This is about Wednesday night. Here, Wednesday, like I said, Wednesday afternoon into Wednesday evening, into the nighttime, the overnight hours. This is when we'll see most of that severe weather, especially the overnight hours. So it may even call for a few nighttime tornadoes. See here, getting later into Wednesday night, even into Thursday morning. Here we have Thursday morning. Still have that severe weather set up. Like I said, this will be I want to say a multi-day event. Getting into Thursday, possibly even Friday. So some of those severe thunderstorms lingering here in the southeast. I think here it looks very severe. Very strong signature of high winds along with the storm. Of course, we have possible hail, very blinding heavy rains. Tornadoes also a possibility for many of these areas. Some of the areas that you got impacted, but I don't think it will be as quite bad as what we saw 2 weeks ago, even 3 weeks ago. Not quite as bad as that. So I wouldn't panic too much about this. About the sign this one is going to be moving on through here. Head a little further into Thursday, we're going to see it just going to weaken a little bit. Still seeing a lot of this rain, the upper south. Really just cooling down some of these temperatures that have been very high here. As I showed you earlier, with very high temperatures in the eastern portion of the U.S. Here in Chicago, we nearly saw 70 today. Is this today? We're going to move it back to current temperatures. We were seeing very high temperatures just a few hours ago, earlier today. Seeing temperatures. Just bear with me, guys. It's actually not surface temperatures. Yes, it is. That's weird. These actually aren't looking very accurate here. I'm just not realizing. So, kind of disregard these for now. It's actually warmer in a lot of places you're seeing. I checked it earlier in the video. These are about in the higher 70s here. I'm not sure why they're in the 50s. Saying this is the current time right now. This is actually 2 meters above ground level. So really surface temperatures. I don't know why things are cool down here, but here you can see the temperature anomaly here. Very above average temperatures here, especially across portions of the areas that are going to be receiving this severe weather today on Tuesday. Portions of the central and northern plains here, even in the Great Lakes region, portions of Minnesota, seeing some severe weather possibly set up here. So very above average temperatures likely to cool down. I think that'll be it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you're new to the channel, be sure to like and subscribe. It really helped me out. Planning on making more updates. I know I took a little break there. I think the last time I recorded was the last severe weather system. I moved on through the deep south just a few weeks ago. I'll try to post as much as I can whenever I have time, whenever I get the chance. So I hope you guys enjoyed this update. I'll see you guys in the next one.